All right, what else going on? Vic, what should we talk about first? I guess Israel Adesanya being mad at Chris Pratt. I think that's funny.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious, by the way. He's upset at him because he went on the post-fight show and he criticized him. And it was the softest criticism you could imagine. So, like any fan has that take.
Pratt appeared on the UFC 276 post-fight show and gave his reaction to the main event after fans were seen leaving the T-Mobile Arena midway through the main event. This is what Chris Pratt said. He goes, I'm going to say this as humbly as I can. I've never stepped into the octagon. I don't know this game. I'm just an actor, but I'm not a fan, man. I'm not a fan of coming out like all that talk and just kind of putting out a little bit of a pitter-patter performance. I'm like, come on, man. You've got to cash in on that promise of being so badass. Very critical of Israel Adesanya. First of all, before we go on to what happened in the story, Dave, what do you think of that criticism of Israel Adesanya?
I think it's like, dude, don't go on national television and just say what we're all thinking like you've ever been in the octagon.
Get out of my head, like, Chris Pratt.
I don't know, you act like you're going to finish everyone and then you didn't finish them. And then Israel's like, well, you're not a real superhero, bro. All right? So how about that? I mean, dude.
It's a fair criticism.
If you're going to have a fucking fan who's not a fighter on the show, I'm a fan and I do this podcast. I'm not a fighter. I don't know. They're not allowed to say how they feel from the fan perspective. Like, it's like if you know, I think it's a bullshit response from Izzy. You'll read the response in a second, but I think you can't be upset about that. If someone goes to one of my shows and goes, I just didn't think Dave was funny. You know, he's like, hey, I've never done comedy. I don't really know comedy, but I didn't think Dave's funny. I can't go, yeah, dude, you've never stepped on stage.
Yeah.
You don't fucking know what it's like to be a stand-up.
By the way, I hate people that do that.
You can't say that.
It's a lame thing. They're not trying to be a stand-up comedian.
You have every right to just be a fan of it and say, I'm not a fan. Yeah. And I don't enjoy what you're doing.
How about you get up here and try to tell a joke? I'm not. That's why I'm sitting here paying here to watch a joke. Right, like, be funny, motherfucker.
They have every right to say that. Now, by the way, that's never happened to me, but to other comics.
You've heard of some guys
who have had these problems.
Well, I agree with you completely. Maybe you can relate. I agree with you completely. I think Chris Pratt, he's being brought on a show as a celebrity fan of the sport. Here's what I like. I like the fact that sometimes people are not going to be fucking company men and fucking not toe the line and not just, you know, and criticize a champion in the UFC or criticize the UFC a little bit. It's refreshing. You know, he could have easily been like, oh, great performance, whatever. Izzy, his response was, I'm the man, you're just some fan.
You're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Izzy, you're the man and he's just some fan who's wildly more successful than you are.
Yeah.
Who makes way more money, has way more fans, is you know, like, I don't know. What are we talking about here, dude? Chris Pratt you're the man and Chris Pratt fucking sucks.
Yeah.
Chris Pratt is wildly successful.
Yeah, let's see. Good morning, I'm the man, you're just some fan. Oh, and then he posted this video.
It was great, bro. Who's the man?
Oh, that's where he gets... Oh, it's a video. I see. It's a video from
a movie that Chris Pratt did. Okay.
The movie is Wanted.
I got it. All right. So, yeah, that's... he didn't get him, really. You know?
I don't know. He's like, yeah, that was a scene. We were acting.
I didn't really get... Does Israel think that he really got hit in the face with a keyboard and just took it?
I got $12 million for that role.
He's like,
what'd you make for that fight?
You don't see me running away from dinosaurs in the jungle. Do you not? It's like, I would fight the Tyrannosaurus Rex.
I just don't like... Could Israel Adesanya go to a Chris Pratt movie and go, I thought that movie sucked?
Oh, yeah. Dude.
Are you allowed to do that?
Dude, Thanos,
or do you have to go...
Thanos embarrassed you.
Like, can you say, oh, hey, I didn't like that movie? Or do you go, have you ever tried to make a movie? This is just stupid.
Well, that's so Chris Pratt's response, he kind of bitched out. He's
a nice guy,
responded,
I think.
He goes, you're right. I'm sorry, brother. It bugs me when people criticize my work, having never themselves risked anything. It makes me a hypocrite to do exactly that to you. My bad. Keep on keeping on, champ. But here's the thing. People have risked things. Here's the thing with Hollywood and people that are a little bit removed from being... let me say this.
I bet the down payment for my house on a craps table.
But
they have no risked anything.
They're a little bit removed from the human experience because, no offense, Chris Pratt, I think the average person has risked a lot more not being a multimillionaire, good-looking actor who has just a ton, nothing to lose, essentially. I get that you're a good actor, and that's great. I love it, dude. I'm an artist. I do comedy. I travel the world doing comedy. I do podcasts, and we create this content for people to enjoy. I completely get it, but let's not fucking pretend that your journey is worse than some fucking kid in Africa.
Well, or not even just that, but if you talk about risk something.
Who grew up to become a UFC champion. Wait a minute.
Moved to Australia and became.
Time out 1 second.
The greatest welterweight of our time. No, but I mean, like, what do you mean by risk something? What is it, only being an actor or a fighter fucking risking something? I mean, look, you started this business when you were dead broke.
Yeah.
I think of that as way more of a risk than fucking than Israel Adesanya stepping in the octagon.
I'll say, I give fighters, it's a different thing because fighters are literally risking their life and limbs and their health and the jury's still out on how much. And by the way, I'm not saying that they deserve some sort of extra award for it, but I'm saying in terms of literal risk, by the definition of risk,
it's hard to
I say
measure.
that they risk a lot because just like comedy and just like anything else in fighting, you're doing it for just the fucking love of getting beat up. And I mean, these guys in the it's like, dude, in comedy, remember we're like, oh, we're doing open mics. You're doing it just for the love of the game. They do that in fighting too, but they're being beat up by other guys who may be the next Conor McGregor or Israel Adesanya, and you don't know who's in front of you, and they sort of blindly go into it. So the risk that fighters, I do give them a ton of credit because,
of course,
I've trained a little bit with real guys who know what the fuck's up. But at the same time,
I'm just saying there's a lot of forms of risks.
I just don't look at acting as being some risk. It's really, I'm really talking about acting specifically.
Well, that's for sure.
Because I've acted before. I know people who act. I mean, I get that you're risking not having a day job and you're trying to do this thing that's hard to do, but it's like, I don't know, dude, good for you. It's your dream. Like, nobody should pat me on the back because I decided to not have a day job and do stand-up comedy. Like, I should pat myself on the back for that. I should be proud of myself. It's a fucking crazy thing to attempt.
But I wouldn't say that's not a risk. You're taking a risk. I don't know. I get your point. Look, obviously by fighting, you're risking getting knocked unconscious. You're risking potential brain damage and all that shit. But there's lots of different types of risks in life. And the truth is that a lot of people, like, who have very tough, dangerous jobs, people who are fucking, whatever, roofers and fucking like jobs where like people get
roofiers? I used to do that in college.
A roofier.
That was, dude, it was my favorite.
You were pound for pound the best roofier, the best middleweight roofier in the world. You were light heavy, but I don't know. There's just lots of types of risks, and the idea that anyone can't criticize you unless they have also done the exact same thing that you've done does not make any sense.
It's crazy.
Stupid.
It's crazy. And by the way, I also think that fucking like journalists kind of suck. And I think that because if you make a career out of it, I think that kind of blows, right? If you're like, dude, my whole thing is I don't actually do anything except for criticize other people, and that is my job, that sucks. But I think if you're an actor and they throw a fucking microphone in front of you and they go, what do you think of that performance? And you didn't like it, and you're like, oh shit, dude, I want to see Izzy, who is one of the most talented fighters in the world, open up and fucking knock a guy out that he should be able to knock out, right? Do it. Knock out Derek Brunson, dude. This is a fight that you should be able to fucking win.
He did knock out Derek Brunson, to be fair.
Wait, what?
I mean, Israel Adesanya knocked out Derek Brunson.
When?
Cannoneer. He went to a decision.
I was like, what the fuck?
But I mean, I guess they're all black.
Like, what am I? I am racist as fuck. What is happening right now? I was like, did I just miss a knockout? I was like, how high was I watching this fucking fight? You know what the fuck I meant, dude. Shut the fuck up, all right?
I know.
Cannoneer.
That was fun.
He should be able to knock out Cannoneer with ease, add it to his highlight, and make it a fucking thing. Simple as that.
And look, I think even to people who know the sport very well, not putting myself in that camp, but people who really know the sport very well, I think it's reasonable that a lot of them would say, look, he was out pointing him and kind of cruising, and he never really opened up and tried to fucking press it to get a spectacular finish. And for a fan to kind of notice that, to notice like, oh, you're clearly on a whole nother level than this guy, and you just kind of cruise to an average performance. I don't know. Come on. I mean, you can't get mad at someone. I feel like Israel Adesanya should Like, if that bugs him, he should use that to, like, motivate him to fucking, you know, for whatever. But to, like, get pissy with him and now get into, like, a back and forth with Chris
It's so
Pratt over it,
stupid.
it's
I mean, whatever. Look, Chris Pratt, he's probably smart. This is why he has a career in Hollywood. He can literally talk to you and go, oh, nothing but respect, champ. That's that.